Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Let's go ahead and get started. Alexandra, would you call the roll?
Absolutely. Amy Owens, present. Mary Esposito. Present. Heidi Soper. Michael Ryder.
Here.
Veronica Cortez. Here. Charles Mark Newman, I believe is absent today, and Carmen Ortiz is absent currently, but I believe she'll be online later. We have a quorum.
All right, perfect. We have our quorum. Would you all stand, and Amy, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Perfect. All right. Let's move on to number 3, general public comment. I do want to remind everybody, whoever wants to speak, please fill out a form and make sure I get it so I can call on you. This is an open meeting. You have 3 minutes. We don't do interruptions and we don't do any cross talking, and that's out of consideration to our speakers. So please be considerate of our speakers. The first person we'd like to hear from is Royce. Do we have Royce? Yeah, come on up.
I'm gonna go over that later.
Don't forget to introduce yourself.
My name is Royce Solberg. I have lived in Sun Valley on and off for 35 years. I live over on Frank's Lane. Some of the things that I want to ask about. One of the things that I need to address before I do the other 2 is we have a problem with Prosser being closed and having to use the Leon top. That road is destroyed because it goes between 2 pieces of asphalt. That's gonna end up being a real mess, especially if it rains, which of course doesn't look like it's gonna happen anytime soon. That's a problem. That's a problem for Washoe County roads. It's a problem for, well, anything else. Public service getting in and out of there, whatever, in an emergency. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was grocery store issue that was promised. I was told that we were going to get a grocery outlet. In doing some investigation, I found out that is not true. We are not getting anything there. And as far as the bank goes, it's a maybe. So that is my issues for tonight, and I would really like those issues addressed if possible. Because we're like flying in the blind. We have nothing. We don't have, well, we've got an ATM. You can't do business banking in an ATM. So that needs to be addressed, plus the grocery store. Some of us can't get to grocery stores easily. That was Scalari's was great. I used to work for Scalari's. I was a manager. So I know how tough it is for some people to get to grocery. So that definitely needs to be addressed again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Royce. Our next guest is Lori.
All right. Good evening, my name is Lori Rodriguez. For the record, I want to make sure you know of 3 RTC and DOT projects that will affect not only Sun Valley, but Golden Valley as well, which is where I live. You are all probably aware of the Sun Valley Boulevard upgrades that are coming, so I won't address that. The second is the Highland Ranch Parkway widening. from Pyramid around the back, of Sun Valley and then connecting to Sun Valley Boulevard. This is set for construction to begin the summer of 2028. Less than 2 years and the design contract has been awarded and has begun. So you will have more traffic over there. Why I am here is the third reason is the O'Brien Pass widening. This is from 7th Street and Sun Valley Boulevard west to Estates in Golden Valley. They want to make it 4 lanes. And it will be widened and feature bike lanes. Most of you have driven, sorry, it's not that. Most of you have driven on that, and you know what a windy, curvy road that is. This project was not supposed to even start design until 2031, but it has already begun. 3 of our property owners board met with Michonne Reed and Mitch Fink on March 5th. They work for the county, they're engineers. We stated our numerous concerns, and to their credit, they were very open. They asked us each to send a letter stating our concerns. I have copies of that letter here for anybody who wants it, especially the board. After review, Michonne sent a letter to RTC summarizing our concerns. I have copies of that letter also for anyone who wants it. I have also contacted Thomas Macaluso, principal of North Valley High School. He is very concerned and wants the school district to weigh in on this project. The school has expanded to 2,650 students, and the road runs right in front of the high school. The kids cross there. Our main concerns are speed and safety. This road goes right in front of the high school, and regarding speed, need I explain? It is also next to the Sun Valley Community Park. Children and parents would have to cross 4 lanes. I'm not sure where the Sun Valley School is in relation to the school zone on 7th Street, but I'm pretty sure it's an elementary school. The kids also cross at Side Hill and 7th across 4 lanes. We are asking for your support in stopping this project. You are free to use our letter as a template, but don't just copy it word for word, make it your own. Okay, thank you. Well. Yes, Timmy, they're shaking.
Thank you. Lots of good information. So I'm glad you brought that up. Monty is next. Here he goes.
Thank you for welcoming me to the CAB meeting tonight. We have some issues. She talks about doing the RTC thing, opening up the Sun Valley Drive. She's not gonna open it up, they'll just do the improvements. And she says the county's gonna take care of it. Have you guys looked at our ditches? I actually got pictures of a bunch of those ditches. They're all full and nobody's cleaning them. We have no county support. I haven't seen a county snowplow on my street in 30 years at least. I mean, no work. I've had a DOT up there 2 or 3 times, but not anything but count. Number 1. Number 2, code enforcement. Something happened to us behind our house the other night, and I thought my house was gonna get burned down. Why do I get to sit and watch my house burn down by my dog's side if we're out of town or something? Because my neighbor has a huge mess out there. How dare you put us in danger? How dare you? When I called about the dust foam. You know what your doctor told me? He told me it's okay, it's acceptable limits. If we die, that's no problem. A lady's got silicosis. They moved to Susanville. I can barely breathe. The guy above us went to the hospital last night because he couldn't breathe. How dare you do that to us? How dare you? The fire department's done nothing.
We direct it to the board, okay?
Okay, to the board. To you. How dare you? But anyway. Weird details. Anyway. The problem is, we had an armored SUV show up at my neighbor's house the other night. You should have seen this guy. This guy was no joke. Armored. What is that? 13 is that cartel, what is it? My wife's gonna call the cops the other night, 'cause they were playing music and stuff, and I told her, don't, we're gonna get a minigun gun stored in our house, now I gotta worry about my house getting shot. Nice, thank you so much. So anyway, I gotta go, because I gotta get home, because we gotta go see if everything's okay, because I'm nervous, I'm trembling. Every one of us got hoses down at the bottom of our yard waiting for our house to burn. Thank you, code enforcement, thank you very much. Okay, have a good day.
Thank you, Monty. All right, our next speaker is George. Jorge.
Is that the one that I'm on here with?
Yeah.
I'm taking a step away from the Citizens Advisory Board, and I'm Veronica Cortez, Notary Public here. I pro bono a lot of senior stuff. I work with a lot of seniors, whatever issues they have. We just had a meeting yesterday about estate planning, but right now I wanted to talk about, we had concerned citizens coming in, yelling about code enforcement, Stella Drive, Tamberg Drive, 7th Street, that area. We can all remember maybe that gentleman. Well, this gentleman right here is one of those business owners. And he has been a business owner for how many years? George Nava is his name. I'm Veronica Cortez. He's had his business open for many years, and the county has been renewing his license. But as of when, a couple months ago, they gave him a stop order. Now he can't work because if you're working in a property for 10 years, you need more than 3 weeks to clean it up. So we're trying to clean up the pallet places. You have that paper? We're going to appeal the stop order so that he can clean up, but I have had a meeting with Christopher. I have been down to the planning to developing all of that. They know what they need to do. They need to turn it into a commercial property, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put the asphalt down, we're gonna do the landscaping, and we're gonna hold people responsible. If you are renting a building, you have to have, the owner of the building has to have a commercial license to rent. All of these people have been renting, paying rent, and they haven't even had licenses, the people that they've been paying. So we have a lot of fraud going on. Thank God the county's finally coming up. I'm also helping the gentleman on mineral, Mr. Bates. We're working on that because he's had zero help from the county. So we are working as a community. We can work together. We're getting these businesses cleaned up. He's here showing his face. Steve was very upset, but I've also been with Steve, and I'm mitigating between them, negotiating so we can keep our businesses in Sun Valley. We don't want to close them. We don't want your renters to leave. We want our people to be happy, and that's why I'm here. So thank you for coming to the meeting. This looks awesome. I don't think we've had this many people, and I hope to see you back for the next one. But we are cleaning up Sun Valley, one business at a time. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Okay. Where is that?
I'm another business owner. I'm in Stella also. I have a pallet company. And
Sir, would you like to speak?
my name is Noel
Okay.
Escara. I thought Veronica was gonna take care of it.
Okay.
I'm not a great speaker, but
After.
I have the same problem as he does. So I've been in business since 2012. It was on Facebook where Ask Joe guy took some pictures. They sent the pictures to anybody here that looks awful because because people don't know about it. But the fire department says, and I'm sorry, I speak very loud. I don't need a microphone. I apologize. I'm not mad. I'm just, yeah. So I'm just loud. No hard feelings. I'm not mad. I'm just speaking. I'm just being myself.
Okay.
So yeah. They say that I was doing awful because I had so many pallets. If we count the pallets that were on that report done to Ask Joe guy, it's 33 pallets high. You go 4 inches on the 2x4, then half an inch per board. I had 33 pallets. I was exactly where I needed to be, but most people don't know. They would just criticize. They would just talk. So I'm all over the place now. My license, my job, my business is about to be maybe shut down because people just make dumb comments when they don't know. Yeah, it looks really tall. I agree, but I am like George is. I am within the numbers. I'm right there. Ask Joe guy. I wish he was here and I could tell him that his math is way off, super off. Now, what did I do? I cleaned everything up. If you look at the property right now, even the fire department told me it's a day and night difference. But hey, but like I say, I'm still at the point where I cannot fight it anymore. I mean, my customers, same as yours, they're not gonna wait for us. They're not gonna wait until my landlord has permits, has everything. But come on, now they're asking for regulations that none of the biggest companies here in town have. I got screenshots of those companies where we are probably doing better than they are. But guess what? It's me and this guy who are actually being targeted. That's not right. I went to the county today and asked about my license. They altered the documents. They put in writing, kids writing, preschool kid. That's what it seems like. Where they say no pallet to be stored outside the property, no pallet to be displayed. Come on, how can I approve that? I mean, if that would have been the case from the beginning, I wouldn't have a business. I would never accept that. So I mean, George, me, honestly, we want everybody's help. I mean, we're running a business. It's for everybody's good, not just me or it. It's everybody's good. We pay taxes, we pay sales tax, we pay everything. But why are we being targeted like that? It's me and him, when everybody else has the same problem that we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's good to know. I know it's a big problem in the area and I'm glad we're hearing different information on it so that we can find someplace for you to go for help. So thank you for letting us know about all of that. All righty, I don't have any other general public comments right now. Thank you.
I didn't get here soon enough to put my name on the list.
Okay, well,
But
come
I'd
on
like
up.
to thank
Okay,
Commissioner Garcia, because she has been helping behind the scenes, have been working very hard. All right, and things have fallen through and they're pulling their hair out but it's getting straightened. I can't, comment on it until it happens, but soon enough, that mineral will get cleaned up. But I don't want anybody here to think that she hasn't been busting her ass. She's been really, the texts and shit have been flying and trying to make it happen.
thank you for letting everybody know that. All right, let's move on. Approval of the minutes. Unfortunately, we don't have the minutes to read to approve, so we're gonna move this on to September 1st. That's our next meeting. It's a Tuesday. All right. We'll go to public safety update. And the sheriff and the fire department can honor.
Good evening. I apologize for my nasally sound. I don't know if it's allergies or the smoke or what have you, but I'm sure everybody's in the same boat. So I'm amongst good company. My name is Ryan Whitlock. I'm a battalion chief with Craig Meadows Fire and Rescue. I just want to go over a couple things with you guys. In your packets that you've received are June stats that I'd like to bring to the table. Our June stats in Sun Valley, we had 208 medicals. We ran 24 vehicle accidents, 9 non-emergent, those like lift assist and public service, although we have another public service listed down there below that. We have 6 fires. Yeah. 6 fires and 5 hazardous situations. As we're coming into August, we're hitting the ground running. Some safety tips that we want to discuss and identify our evacuation preparations. You guys see that our fire activity is picking up. We're just starting to get into the mix right now. It's starting to become heavy. So going through, knowing the way out, being prepared, leave early, not the last minute. That's for your safety and our safety as well. If we can't get to the fire, we can't get to the incident, we can't mitigate it. So we really hope and help. It would help if everybody goes out early, so we're not fighting two situations, traffic and incident. So, stay connected. There's that, 911 or smart 911. That's a reverse, callback. And then, have a family communication plan as well. Below that, we walk into the, water safety at the lake. We're having more and more, instances, in the river and as well in Pyramid and Tahoe. We don't do much in Tahoe, but Pyramid and the river, we do have an uptick in river rescues and water rescues. So that's something to really, if you have grandkids, kids that like to swim, just those are some good water safety tips to go over and review. As for the pallet issue, I would like to talk about that just from what I've been told, from my position above me. This morning, they wanted me to address, in concert with Washoe County commissioners, they are addressing the Tamberg incident. They're complying with the fire code. We're working towards that. They wanted to let everybody know they are working in concert, working towards that. Stella, code enforcement is involved, and they're working with the gentleman with the lease and to get that up to code. And they are working to keep his business open as well as Mineral. I was told that you're working with code enforcement as well. Fire is helping mitigate any other issues. They say you're doing a great job and they want to help keep those businesses open. So from our perspective, as Battalion Chief Ryan Whitlock, I don't know the higher end stuff. I just wanted to let you know, they told me that everything's kind of moving and they want to keep businesses open and people connected and moving. Unfortunately, this is a complaint driven process, if that makes sense. We get the call from people and we have to look into it. So the complaints come in, that's what activates our response. So we could be behind the 8 ball, that's because no one complained. But we're here, we're trying to mitigate it. Our goal is to keep people moving, keep people operating, and keep people happy and safe.
Okay, so I respect that, they want business open, but I mean, when they tell George, hey, you gotta wait 6 months before we can help you out. Our customers are not they're not gonna wait for that. They will not wait for that. So if we respect those rules, we'll be out of business in no time.
Understand, and I highly recommend talking to the code enforcement and our fire prevention and explaining that, hey, this is my livelihood. If we wait for this to happen, we've been operating this way for a certain period of time. Can we have a leeway to get these things accomplished and get these things handled? And I believe our departments will help you achieve those goals.
Can I talk to you at the end of the meeting?
I don't do with that. That's gonna be prevention. So I don't do with that. I'm the middleman. They get to deliver the message.
It's just that they added some paragraph in my license that was not there 14 years ago. They say no valid display. That was not in my license. I unfortunately do not have the original documents for 14 years ago. But if that would have been the case, there was no reason that I would have never agreed to rent it. So now I just need to know, how do I take care of that problem without getting lawyers and stuff like that?
I understand, and I'm not the subject matter expert for that. I would actually lean on our fire prevention and have a sit down with her and say, hey, listen, this is where I'm at. This code wasn't here originally. How do we mitigate this between now and then?
Okay.
How do I get to where I need to be?
Can I get that information with you, or you can give me that?
Our fire
Contact,
prevention?
right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
get you our fire prevention.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Yeah. Any other questions? That's the end of the report.
Boy, that was great.
All right. We got it.
All righty, our sheriff's department is ready to go.
How you doing?
How are you ready? Know I'm loud enough. I'm Lieutenant George Gomez, Lieutenant Ned Nemeth. So good evening, everybody. Good to see familiar faces. Monty especially back there. I want to go over some stats real quick, and then we're going to go into, I think what a lot of you guys are here for is regarding noise disturbances, right? Raise your hand if you're here regarding noise disturbances.
Well, we have a subject before that.
The subject, of course, would you
Right,
like
so
to
we-
reserve all comment?
Yeah, we have, you guys are your report,
Okay.
and then we have, another, history lesson, and then we're ready for you and code enforcement.
Okay, so I'm just gonna talk about statistics, any other concerns in right now. So just a couple of things I wanted to highlight. We have in that packet you received, second quarter data, so April, May, June's data. We responded to over 4,200 calls for service, which is approximately about 600 more than our 3-year average. Substantially every other category of crime is down in Sun Valley. The ones that have increased are ones that we are what we call proactive, so things that our deputies observe, see, act on, and which are also related to the sheriff's goals for 2026, which would include driving under the influence. We've had 28 arrests in Q2. Weapon law violations, we had 8 arrests with those in Q2. Drug equipment violations, any type of drug paraphernalia, and then also actual drug narcotic violations, which was pretty heavy with 22 arrests. So we are out there day in, day out, trying to keep everyone in Sun Valley and the rest of the Washoe County safe. In regards to anything else that besides noise complaints that we're going to discuss here shortly, does anyone have any questions or want to bring anything up that I can answer right now for the rest of my ability? Yes, ma'am. Okay. So speeding is always, I think it's brought up every time I'm here for the, at least the last year I've been coming here and there with Lieutenant Tone. Actually, he comes mostly since replacing me, but that's a big problem, right? It's a big problem for us on a daily basis that we see driving around, whether we're going to calls for service. If we sometimes have to take action, our deputies do, we have to divert. Unless it's high priority calls, we divert to those traffic offenses on the way to lower priority calls, which then affect citizens, right? Because they're like, where's the police on these lower priority calls? We usually get there. So my best advice to anybody that has speeding, there was a female in the back that talked about speeding. Best way you can handle this is go into our website if you can, or you can come to the sheriff's office and put in a service request for our motorist team. Our motor sergeant and lieutenant overseeing that will definitely direct resources throughout the entire Washoe County. So just not Sun Valley, anyone in Washoe County that we service, part of Washoe County Sheriff's Office jurisdiction, we will send deputies to do speed enforcement. And that can be, you'll see them on bikes, of course. You'll sometimes see them in patrol cars, especially during inclement weather. And we will do radar traps, we'll put speed trailers up. And that is the best way to mitigate speeding in a certain area. But we're all not naive to the fact that if you have police in one area, say, pick an area, 7th and 10th, right? Because we just talked about that, right? Speeding up, either towards Opal Station or down towards the 7-Eleven. It's hard. We have law enforcement motorbikes there, sheriff's office motor deputies issue tickets, and then the next day we're not there. So what do people do? They're going to not see us. They're going to speed, right? And everyone in this room is guilty of speeding. If you haven't been, then I commend you. It's hard not to speed, but it's those egregious issues, and we try to combat it. And it's one of those things that will never go away, no matter how much public service announcements we can put out there, how much, fortunately to say, highlighting the serious ramifications of speeding and get into an accident where other people can get hurt or die. Is we do our best to mitigate that. Deputies do that on a daily basis while they're not going to calls for service. And we have a dedicated motors team addressing that on a daily basis, 5 days a week currently.
What was the location exactly? Is 7th and what? Yukon. What I can do also is pass on our patrol teams to try to be in those areas when we're not going to calls for service and try to hit it more when the motor guys maybe can't get out there. Just depends on weekends and stuff like that. We don't usually have them on. But I'll see if we can get that going along with Lupin and Fifth.
Go ahead, man.
You guys look for the record. Does your speed trailers have cameras on them to capture license plates, like, red light?
Unfortunately, no.
Wouldn't it be nice if they did?
Oh, yeah.
Then you wouldn't have to have somebody, you could just boom, if you're going 20 miles over the speed limit, capture the plate and send them to.
The tickets in the mail.
Then we can tell it.
Without getting into a host of other legislative speed bumps in regards to that, there's a lot of reasons why we don't do that for enforcement, like red light cams that you see around the country, other places. Go ahead.
Lieutenant,
Yes, ma'am.
can you address the utility vehicles, the 4x4s, the motorcycles, the side-by-sides and all of that And the fact they run up and down Sun Valley Boulevard pretty much unchecked Saturday and Sunday evenings. And, you know, when they're parked at Hoagie's, I know they're not getting gas or ingress or egress to the out open spaces.
Correct.
Or they park at Scolari's. They've become quite a danger lately. I mean, I don't mind them if they're driving the speed limit, but they sort of like the drag race up and down Sun Valley.
Well, we mind them, I tell you that. It is, a call for service that we get routinely, not as much as say other calls for service, which I'll piggyback to noise disturbances. But we do try to enforce that. A lot of them run and speed away. A lot of them are juveniles, unfortunately. So I hate to say it, goes to good parenting and making sure you know what your kids are doing. That starts there, right? But those that are adolescents and adults, we do try. If they run, just like motorcycles, we're not chasing, because we put the public at a greater risk. If you like cops or watch those shows with car chases, they don't happen often because they're very dangerous. And we can't put anyone in this room, your children, anyone else in peril to go catch somebody that's doing a misdemeanor offense, essentially. Now, we talk about murder and stuff like that, different story, but that's neither here or there. So we do try to enforce those. They can't be on the roadway unless they're illegal, and 99% of them are not legal to be on the roadway, have all the safety equipment, registered insurance. So we stop them. If we see them land, like you said, here, then we have a nice safe place where we can have 2 units come in, box them in, and then now we can do some enforcement action. We are heavily, and you guys have seen this, heavily using our drone as first responder. They're helping us solve crimes, helping us catch DUI drivers, helping us with e-bikes, motorcycles leaving, or suspects fleeing a car scene. We fly over, we find them, and then we send police officers to their location rather than chasing them and then put you all at risk.
Yeah.
So, say that again, sir?
Yeah, drones that do that.
Yeah, we have drones in Sun Valley.
Oh, that's good.
Are all the flock cameras gonna be removed? Because I saw the ones in Gulf Valley taken down.
I can't comment on that. Unfortunately, I don't know the state of the flock cameras. I can tell you there's no intention to remove them. We are positioning them around the county where we deem them fit to be the best service to us.
The one across from the high
Would
school,
you guys state your name?
Michael Rodriguez, the
Thank
one across from the high school has been cut. And the one up near the Tumwa substation on the States, it's the stuff, that's all that's there now.
When you say cut, are you saying like someone stole
It's
it?
gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
Or do you think they were removed
No,
permanently?
it was purposely cut, it's a diagonal, with a slice on the pole.
Okay.
That's on the-
Unfortunately, are you aware of any?
I'm not sure those are our flock cameras.
They don't know what interaction you do or don't have with them, we're just pointing out that there's 2 of them gone.
Yeah, we definitely have cameras around the community, but I don't know specifically in those
Yeah,
areas.
if you go to the States, there's a Tumwa substation, there's been a block there for quite some time.
Okay,
But it's gone, the only thing that's down there is a black post with a stub.
okay.
But the one across from the high school is a diagonal cut, it's been shaved right off.
Well, I can tell you, we would know if they were stolen.
Yeah.
Because it would be a big deal.
Yeah.
So my answer to that without knowing for sure is more than likely they were repositioned somewhere else in the county. Because there's a whole dedicated team to that, and they would know when the camera's offline. Especially if it's more than a few hours, and then they go inspect them, and then we have our patrol deputies routinely look. So that more than likely is why, and I'm not up to the current data of where each camera is located.
Just letting you know.
Thank you, I appreciate that. That's what we need, concerned citizens like that.
Hi, the Wild Creek Open Space north of the High School, there's 3 last count.
Could you state your name, please?
Martin Brown.
Thank you.
There's 3 abandoned RVs, been there for months. Is that your guys' jurisdiction? It is.
Where was it? Sorry.
The Wild Creek Open Space, north of High School.
That might be actually Sparks PD, but I'll have to make sure, and I'll check in with our front desk. They're the ones to go out and tag those things and see if they know about them. If anything,
Been there
we
for
could
months now.
You think they're occupied, sir, or unoccupied?
I've never seen any.
Okay,
Unfortunately, I live there and it's, one of them is right outside my
eyesore.
Yeah, well, it's a nice one, yeah, that was on my window, but I haven't seen any movement.
Okay, like Lieutenant Evans said, we'll get in touch with our front desk, and if they are occupying and people living that, we'll get a homeless outreach proactive engagement team, the HOPE team, to go out there and offer resources and move them along. That means safely. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Who was first? I don't know. We'll go ladies first. Always ladies first. Go ahead.
What's the protocol if you're just a citizen, you're not anybody?
Could you state your name, please?
Dawn Mooneyham,
Don, can you repeat the question one more time, please?
I'm trying to put it together.
Yeah, take your time.
In other words, you're in your house and something happens to somebody that's there and you need to get your car and get them to the hospital.
Okay,
And yes, you're gonna speak.
of course.
Back years ago, it used to be that you flash your lights in the car. And that was kind of a signal. to-
Oh, like, don't pull me over kind of signal?
To drivers as to why, they're cutting in and out and trying to get to the hospital.
Well, I think that is, lack of a better term, an old wives' tale. But what I would say,
Or that's why I'm asking.
we can't condone your breaking law, which is speeding, right? But if you're on the way to a hospital for an emergency call, right? And you get pulled over for whatever reason, and you don't pull over, then it'll escalate things, right? But you can always call and say, hey, I'm on the way to, you should stop, right? If it's a life-threatening emergency, that's why we have fire and REMSA 911. If you don't have time for that and you're going to the hospital and the off chance you do get pulled over, quickly stop, say, I need to go to the hospital, and either an officer's gonna take the person to relieve you of any potential problem, right? Because you don't have license sirens on your car, or we're gonna get REMSA there immediately. I would say, in my time, you please jump in, like REMSA is usually on scene where there's Truckee Meadows paramedics with a REMSA ambulance. 2 to 3 minutes tops is to any call. We have the fire guys usually get there and girls, and they have paramedic on board. So if they don't even have the ambulance engine rig with them, there's always a medical personnel, right? EMT too, Chief?
Yes, we have paramedics on every engine.
Yeah.
And every ambulance.
Okay.
And it's gonna be safer for you to stay where you're at and have us respond.
Also, so if you see me on the road, I'm rushing to the hospital.
I won't say you won't get a ticket, because maybe you get a ticket, because I don't want to condone breaking the law, but there's justifiable reasons for that, right? So just, in the off chance that happens, stay where you're at, get medical personnel to you, and then we'll deal with the other stuff after.
All right, lots of
Sir.
great questions.
Well, your last question, sir.
My name is Chris Ambry. It's actually an answer to this gentleman's question earlier. One of the volunteers for KTMB. And 2 weeks ago, I went out there and cataloged all the abandoned vehicles in the area that he's talking about.
Okay.
And I forwarded them on to Darcy Phillips, and it's just so many abandoned vehicles. It's hard to go on the sheriff's website and try to take pictures and do it. But I have.
Are you talking about the reporting of the abandoned vehicle?
Yeah, so some of those vehicles, they are currently abandoned, with
Okay.
only one vehicle possibly being occupied, but as of recently, I've not seen that vehicle.
Okay.
But in answer to this question, it's a combination of Highland Ranch HOA private property, Sun Mesa private property, BLM, and then there's even somewhere behind Coles, it's actually private property. It's marked as private property and has about 4 or 5 abandoned vehicles. Whether those are the owners' abandoned vehicles or people are just ignoring the private property and dumping those vehicles there. But I just wanted to let him know there's someone out there, we see it, we're documenting it. I'm sure ATMB can definitely vouch for this. Moving a vehicle that's abandoned is a monumental event, but it's documented and it will happen.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And what was your name for the record, sir?
My name is Chris Ambry.
Chris Ambry. That's very good information. So thank you again.
All right, we are going to move on, because we have 2 big presentations left. So, is Sherilyn available? There she is. And if you could use the microphone, because the people online are having a hard time hearing.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Sherry Hayes Zorn, and I am the curator of history with the Nevada Historical Society, Nevada's oldest museum in the state. I'm honored to give you a brief historical reference, a biography, kind of a historical overview about Sun Valley with 10-15 minutes. Of course, there's way more history, and it's a very fascinating community, and I've learned so much looking into your community's history, and there's already a lot of great people that have done great research over the last several years. So I'm not creating something new, but at the same time, I hope I can give you some good information. Should I stand on the side? Okay. Okay. All right, so what we're looking at is Sun Valley. This is the state lands map from 1873. So you're looking at what would be become Sun Valley, and this is the area in particular. You can see that this is the road to Spanish Springs. So you're kind of looking at what would become Lemon Valley and Prosser. Okay, the next slide here is actually the valleys in particular of Lemon, Prosser, and Spanish Springs. This dates from 1890. It's from our collection. So what you're looking at with this arrow, you're looking at Lemons Valley as well as Prosser Valley. Lemon Valley was named after Fielding Lemon, who came in 1861. And because of the natural springs, he was able to have a great ranch that raised hogs, goats, chicken, cattle, and sheep. Well, Prosser raised herds of sheep and cattle in this area that would become today Sun Valley. And you will be able to see in some sketches along here and in one of the other maps what would become Prosser Ditch. All right, so this is an aerial view of what Rainley Sparks is looking like in the late 1940s. And we've got a lot of growth actually happening at this time. After the war, you're dealing with a boom in people coming in. Former soldiers, new industries are growing. So you're looking at Sun Valley as well as Reno. And because of this, we have a lot of people that are looking for homes, but where are they going to find affordable housing? That becomes the big issue of the creation of Sun Valley. Next one. Okay, so this map is the first one that really you start to see Sun Valley. This is the Reno Sparks highway map from 1965. You can actually see the road, Sun Valley Drive coming in along with the community. And already you can see the developments, the subdivisions that Harry Gledford actually created. And so it's a very interesting map, but this is the first one you actually start seeing the community. So a little bit about Harry Gledford. He became the primary developer of Sun Valley, as many of you know. Early on, when he first started advertising, it was for acreage. He was selling acreage and smaller lots. And finally, it was in 1948, he actually came to the Washoe County Commissioners asking to get a permit to start subdividing his property into one-third acre lots, which is what so many of the subdivisions allowed with these trailers and these manufactured homes. So we'll go to the next slide, please. A little bit about Harry. He was born in 1880 and he died in 1963. He moved to Sparks in 1928, and this was his business that he and his son built in 1930, which was Gepford's Cash Store. It was a used furniture store. There was even a couple of apartments up in the upper floor that were for rent. And they would run this business from 1930 until 1970. A couple years later, the family built a mattress factory next door, and his son ran that. But during the time that we're looking, of course, Harry and his wife started getting involved with purchasing land in Prosser Valley, which of course comes to a total of at least 3,000 acres. And so one of the sources that a lot of people will recognize is Reno banker who ran the First National Bank was Walter J. Harris. He then, at the time, in 1946 to 8, purchased over 1,000 acres. Next, please. These give you some dates of when Harry's subdivisions were actually planned. And in 47-8, this is when you start seeing him starting to incorporate the word Sun Valley as a way of promoting the community, saying even with this rural, this outback, just this beautiful landscape that you could see the sun. And so he was really trying to promote this as a beautiful place for people to come and who could financially afford such a place. The subdivisions plans started in 47, 49, 50, 54, 63, because subdivision 5 was redeveloped, and number 6 was 57. And so I just put this on here that in subdivision 6 as well as in 5, other people actually bought property, and that's when you start seeing several different mobile home parks being created. So over to next. And this just gives you an example of what subdivision 6 looks like. Go to next. So this is an example of people that actually bought land from him directly. So this is part from subdivision 5, 1965, Mr. Parker and Mr. Rippletone actually bought property on block A and E in subdivision 5. Next, please. The next is the Bruce subdivision, and it was Joseph and Glenn Mara Bruce, and you'll recognize that name as one of the streets, of course, today. And they designed this subdivision for lot 1, block C in subdivision 6. Next. This is a great example. Rimrock Estates was in part of portion lot 2, block C, and this was in early to mid 1960s. Next, please. Mesa Mobile Manors was done in 1971, so a little bit later. And this was lot 2, block C, and it's a little confusing, but it's Warren Richardson and also W. Mark Richardson, trustee. So I don't know if there was a death in the family, but there's several names on this at the time. And of course, this is the next level. This is 1967, 1968, and early 1970s. This is when Juniper Terrace and Juniper Heights is actually created in Sun Valley. So Ed Douglas was an important figure in Reno development. He was a contractor, and he built a lot of homes and businesses that would be in Northwest Reno, including Starlight Bowl off of Keystone, and his brother-in-law was Richard Clarkson. Sorry.
Yep.
And so what I think is great. So as he was getting, what was it? I think they said 70 homes he sold within 6 months, where he had $75 down, $75 a month. So he really was selling quite a few properties in a very short period of time. But that also included he worked on the septic tank, got your water tap, and your electric. So after that, he actually increased the prices because he was getting behind at the time. But what I think is wonderful is that during this time, they started running out of water pressure. So he actually went down to Texas and bought a water tank, dismantled it, brought it back to Sun Valley, and this is the celebration in early 70. And so then here is Ed, and there's Robert, his brother-in-law. So next please. So I love this picture because you saw the map earlier. But this is a great aerial view of Sun Valley in March of 1973. And this is from the aerial photo collection from Special Collections at UNR. And you can definitely see how the community is really developing with the different areas of subdivisions with trailers and different homes that are being set up in the area. Just a great view. Next. Yeah, and that's the thing. It had been a dirt road for many years. What I found is that I'm just going to go over a few great early community places that's important in your history. The Sun Valley Landowners Association was an important building that was used for the whole community. They used it as the first school in the early 50s. The homemakers group, they would report social notes in the newspapers, and they would meet there as well as the fire station. They would have holiday parties, including Thanksgiving dinners, St. Patrick's Day. They would even have dances there to raise money for what would be the senior center, helping with the fire department, the schools. They were very active, and this was a great place. And then this is what this restaurant is today. I took this picture last week. Next question. This is a fascinating history. Your first volunteer fire station in Sun Valley was first created in 1947. His name is Charles Vince, or Bud Stocks, was moved here. He was a roofer, and he realized, along with other members of the community, that fire is such an devastating thing within the community, and they realized they really needed to create a volunteer fire group. So Bud, along with several of our early fire people, and there's a lot of great reports or articles in the newspaper that talk about quite a few members in the community, but they actually did dances to help raise money to get what was it? I think this was a great one, to get a hose and to help with adding just fire equipment, actually constructing and building the original fire department. And so they were spending their own time, their own money, and their weekends. They would actually work and build this building. And so what I think is wonderful today is that the Sun Valley General Improvement District still owns this historic building and is using it. But we have the beautiful Station 45, and that was built in 2000, and they are a great service. So next please. The biggest thing, of course, when all this growth was happening with Getford selling property is that, people are in the rural community. They didn't have all the connections to the social services, the community support of Reno and Sparks. So this community got together and tried to figure out how can we help ourselves. And I think that's what I find interesting and very honorable that happens across all of Nevada. What can we do to help each other to make our community better? And so, because they dealt with septic tanks, water levels kept rising, there was flooding that was happening going into Sparks. There was a moratorium at one point of not allowing more trailers to be built in the late 60s and early 70s. They realized that they needed support from their community. And so the community actually voted to create this organization, the Sun Valley Water and Sanitation District, to help with water and sewer. And of course, today, they took over in 1990, the garbage service. And because they were able to get the franchise fee from the Washoe County General Fund, that money helps provide the money needed to run that service, but also to help support your parks and public programming and other education. And so it's a great service. And this photo over here, that's the original founding board, and definitely important figures in your community. You have we have James Gordon, who owned Gordon's Bar. Then you have Robert Clarkson, who was a grocer and the former Washoe County Commissioner. Then you have Norma Fink, who definitely was with the real estate, big time supporter, helped support, donate money for then why your swimming pool and community center is named after. So this organization has done so much over the years. So kudos. What I find interesting is how important the elementary school was needed in the community. So when the families were first starting to come in, it was with younger families. But actually the first classrooms were at the Landowners Association building. They actually, for a few years, when they had a small number of children, they were using that as a classroom. As time went on, between when they finally were able to get a building in kind of like mid 53, 54, they started to be calling Spanish Springs Elementary, but their name change happened in 57, 59, then they became Sun Valley. In 59, the Sun Valley Elementary School gets an addition. In 76, the octagon-shaped building is built for more room. This is a great picture of it, and I do believe that's the building. Yeah, so I went and looked and I'm like, so I was very excited. But you know, the parents were very, very involved. They did dances. They were always trying to raise money for the children, for trying to make it a better place. They, Garden Gate Club, a women's organization, and eliminated something there. They decided to pay for shrubs and trees to help improve the elementary school. And in 1972, because there were so many children that was at that school, they went on a year-round school schedule. And after 1 year, this Washoe County said, okay, we will pay for a new school. So that was in 1973. I find where we're located fascinating. It has a great history. So you can see it in the upper left here. That's the original Sun Valley Casino, and that's a photo from our collection, and it's from 1974. And I'm sorry, it is a little dark, but you can see the bones of that building is the bones of the first part of Hobie's today. So the building is built in, let me grab my note, there's so much great detail. All right. So the casino opens in fall of 1973. In July of 73, Don Baldwin and Robert Sullivan, they offered to lease 30 slot machines to Sun Valley. They get approved in October get a gaming license issued for slot machine operation at Sun Valley. At this point, I don't know who actually was the owner, but we do know about Baldwin and Sullivan being involved. By June of 74, Nevada Novelty has agreed to lease slot machines to Carta Hotels in Sun Valley. So now the sale has changed. So Carta Hotels actually operated the hotel, Holiday Hotel in Reno. And from 74 to 76, they helped oversee what would be Sun Valley. In fall of 74, there was a remodel. They said it was kind of barn-like inside the building. So they remodeled with new paint, carpeting, partitions to create a warmer atmosphere. They did a separation of bar and cocktail lounge, restaurant, and casino area. The high ceiling was lowered with wooden beams and lattice work, and the restaurants were furnished with booths and tables. And the big thing that was a big draw was Jones's Steakhouse opened in the casino, and that's a famous restaurant that was in Napa. In 76 to 79, the lovely lady down here is Sherry Hara, the former wife of Bill Hara. She requested to be able to take over the said Sun Valley, and got approved in April of 76, but she actually had to sell her percentage of Caribbean casino to be able to have this, to be able to run and operate this. By October, her probation period was removed, and she had named the casino to SH Corral. And she ran the corral from 76 to 79. The next person that we know, the namesake, 79 to 84, is Horace Hovey, bought the casino and of course then renamed it to Hovey's and did a lot to the casino. But 84 to 90 is kind of a quiet period in news. Terrence McMullen buys Hovey's and operates it. By April of 1990, the sale of Hovey's goes to Nevada Video, which is Manda's family and Dale Frey. So they oversee Hovey's for 35 years. And that fall of, I believe it was December of 1990, they asked to have the property designated from general commercial to tourist commercial, which I thought was interesting. And I don't know the reason why. But, and then of course, today in December, there was another sale. So we've had 7 owners for this historic casino. And it is associated with the Carson Valley Inn and Sharkey's family. So as a reported $19 million sale. Next. An important part of basic services is actually having a bank in your community. And the first bank is actually starts construction in January of 1973 and opens in 1973. So Ron Gifford is involved with this, and that you can see this, you know, the historic building, then what it looks like in 2019, and then of course today. So First National becomes First Interstate, becomes Wells Fargo, and now I just see just an ATM machine. So I don't know if it's getting remodeled, but that was what I saw last week. So I'm sorry. This is an interesting little tidbit. Communities and being able to have post offices and these basic services is really important. So the first post office was actually located in Clarkson's Valley Market, and it was opened on July 1st, 1963. What is interesting, you'll see 71 to 76, you'll see these different dates. So these are contract branches, so they could be in casinos, in shopping malls, at different locations. And so they're run with doing outgoing service, mail orders, but there are certain things they can't do. But this is when you first start getting postal service in your community. So, but also during this time, from 1976 to 81, what they call is the Sparks contract branch, and that's essentially being outside of your main community, which is considered Sun Valley. So I think it's interesting, the current Sun Valley Post Office was built in 1986, but a gentleman named Ben Evans wins fight to get official post office in Sun Valley. The petition drive with 1,600 names was sponsored by Jim Santini in 1975. The petition, along with letters, were sent to then Jimmy Carter. Okay, so we know that he gets it approved, 1986, the post office is built, but then in 2011 and then in 2013, it's threatened for closure. And I have to say, Senator Dean Heller definitely helped the community to write a letter to the Postmaster General. And you can see this letter. This is part of Senator Dean Heller's collection, special collections, or digital collection. And it's because of that they were able to keep it open. Your first parks. This community has an amazing number of parks and support. In the first subdivision plans, you actually see that Gepford actually sets aside a section, what would become today's park in the original plans. But At the time in 1951, there wasn't any true organization, but besides just community members that were here. So he ultimately donated it to the Washoe County Parks and Rec System. About 10 years later, community members are very frustrated. They would like to try to make this an active park. The family is, the son Gordon is asking if no one's going to do anything with this said land, he would like it back. So a good group of local families, local community, they created a committee to be able to work on getting Getford Park put together, and they cleaned it. They started fundraising and building it to be what it is today. What I like about your community and your general, your district itself, they took over the Sun Valley Park pool, restrooms, and maintenance of Getford Parks in 2010, as well as your other parks. When there was the recession happening in 2009, they were thinking about closing, and they couldn't afford $145,000 a year, which would deal with the maintenance for pool, the restrooms, and the community. And because of them, we're able to keep them open. Yes. Stores, food is very important. So I just thought it was interesting. I had this historic photo in our collection that is part of what would be Valley Market. That was Clarkson's grocery store. But then also we had Buy Right Market, and then that actually was constructed in 1984. And the new grocery store in Sun Valley Grocery and General Merchandise. It was owned and operated by Jack and Grace Brazo, located at 7th Street and at Sun Valley. Let's see. In 56, Mr. Eugene Brathlet purchased the Sun Valley Grocery Store. At the time, he then became a member of the Sun Valley Volunteer Fire Department, but he died suddenly in June of 1960, and that's what I don't know what happened afterwards. But of course, that would become the Buy Right Market today, and it's owned and operated by Highland Stores Inc. And it's been here for a long time. So I just like the history of these communities. And when I was driving by, I'm like, oh, that's this one. I was very excited. Yes, and that was the thing. There were 2 Buy Rights, so I thought that was interesting as well. And then also you have the Food King as well. That was part of Donald Baldwin's businesses that become Warehouse Market, that becomes Scolari's Market. In 87, it's all the same place. And then I saw that in 2025 it closed because the Scolari's only had 2 grocery stores left. Your services, power and telephone in Sun Valley. The biggest thing the community really kept pushing forward, like, we really do need these services. We do need electricity. We do need phone. It was a fight for the community to be able to get these. But the Rural Electrification Administration, it actually helped initially for power, but then after 49, it started helping rural communities finance telephones. And so because of Sierra View Power bringing power into the community, they were then able to use those telephone poles, to be able to add telephone lines. So that's a great little bit of history for you. And finally, roads. That was a big thing. I was reading, that it became a big issue for the community that when there was the heavy winters, like 54, 55, where, they were actually doing drops for hay in rural areas because there was so much snow. The community actually was isolated, so when I was talking about grocery stores, you actually need to be able to eat and be able to get out, but with the 7.5 miles, they said with dirt road, it takes at least an average of 30 minutes to drive. But then when you have weather and there's nobody plowing, that becomes a whole nother thing, and you become isolated within your community. So as Gepford continued to sell property, they realized this actually the city of Sparks in Reno asked him to help pay for the road. And so he did. He did put money out of his pocket to help for the paving of the road into Sun Valley. The parade and ribbon cutting for the new paved highway into Sun Valley was in October 25th, almost around Nevada Day of 1958. Construction was $235,000, and it was constructed by Isabel Construction Company. It's, you know, a couple of people in the audience were talking about speeding. That became an issue for people after the roads were paved. There was a lot of things in the papers talking about speeding and people being arrested and the community being upset that now we have this good road, but then all of a sudden now there's safety and worry about children crossing the streets, the elderly, just trying to get around within your community. So, next. And I was hearing some of the comments. You guys have worked so hard. I will leave my notes on the floor here. That I just found it interesting that, you know, it's always been a fight for you guys, trying to get everything to be able to make this a more thriving community. In 1980, there was a mass transit plan, so then you actually could get bus routing into the community in 1980. And during that same time, NDOT's plan was to improve and widen the existing 2-lane road from 2nd to 7th. And I don't know if that is the time frame that it goes from Drive to Boulevard, probably the name change, but you keep seeing the interchange of the two. In 2010, there was an article talking about adding streets and sidewalks and adding the street to continue to provide safety and more drainage issues. And then, of course, I saw just last week, or just a couple weeks ago, July 2nd, 2026, $25 million to improve Sun Valley Boulevard has been approved. And to help with drainage and upgrade 2 miles of the boulevard, new share paths and bus stops. So it's a never-ending fight for you guys. But, you know, just coming in, I mean, I came later, hoping maybe I'd beat some of the traffic. But I mean, that's everywhere, you know, and trying to get to places and back from places. So you can see why this happens is, you know, speeding and everything else. But it's something I think every community and area around the whole, you know, Reno Sparks area have to deal with. And these are just some of my sources from our collection, things from the UNR, Ancestry, newspapers, and of course, a local historian that I just came across just about a month ago, a couple weeks ago, was Gary Moore. I guess he gave presentations 1 to 4, the early history of Sun Valley. So I was able to verify some things. So thank you guys for allowing me to talk a little about your great community. Thank you.
Sherilyn, thank you so very, very much. That was very informative. Very good. All right, we're gonna move on to number 7, Washoe County Noise Ordinance and Enforcement Overview. And I would like to give everybody a little bit of information before we start this. This is a presentation by the Washoe County Code Enforcement and Washoe County Sheriff's Office regarding existing noise regulations, the types of noise complaints addressed by each agency, limitations of the current ordinance, available enforcement options, and guidance for residents on reporting noise-related concerns. So as far as this goes, we're going to hear from them. And then September 1st is our next meeting. It's a Tuesday, not our normal first Monday of the month, but September 1st, which is a Tuesday. They're gonna come back. And when they come back, we'd like everybody to come back with questions and ideas and anything else you might like to say on this particular subject, Because what's gonna happen is we are going to put all that information together into a formal letter that the CAB will present to the Board of County Commissioners. And hopefully, they will be able to forward it on to the people who can make some changes for us out here. So I'd like, the sheriff and the code enforcement to come back. And like I said, our questions are limited to noise enforcement. I know everybody's got a lot more, but right now tonight, it's noise enforcement. So go for it, guys.
Well, as far as Washoe County code enforcement, when we deal with noise, when we deal with.
Who are you? Who are you?
I'm Brian Farmer with code enforcement. Yeah. Hi, Brian Farmer with code enforcement. So as far as code enforcement dealing with noise, we have the noise and lighting standards in chapter 110, which is the development code. And basically what it lays out is there's a 75 decibel day-night average. That is the threshold for a violation, meaning it's more permanent sound. It's not your quick parties or music or stuff like that. It's like a generator running 24 hours, a windmill, warehouses. We have to take a 24-hour sound study with specific equipment to determine if there's a violation. So that's the only thing that we are authorized to enforce when it comes to noise. That's the standard right there. It's 1 page.
I'll just, Lieutenant George Gomez. But I'll just piggyback on that, again, law enforcement, we're not. Microphone for the folks online. Oh, okay. Yeah. Just this. So just to piggyback with code enforcement, we're law enforcement, right? We enforce the laws and regulations brought forth by the state and Washoe County Code. We can't, if there's would you use your example as a generator?
The most common example is the industrial area in Sun Valley, Sun Valley, Spanish Springs, that's right next to the river. So some of these warehouses, they have machines that run throughout the night. That would be an example of something we do. It's got to be measured over 24 hours. So if it's 3 hours of noise that's exceeding that level, the other 21 hours is going to negate that average.
So with that, we can't really do anything. So if you call and that example, law enforcement as lieutenants and possibly sergeants, we're gonna cancel a call. We will refer to code enforcement, dispatch can forward that the call for service. So you call, we can do that. And then the code enforcement will go give a little bit more detail, look into that. But they have the measured equipment. They're the ones that are able to do stuff like that. And then, so as far as law enforcement concerns in regards to noise disturbances, I looked before I came to this meeting. So far this year, we responded to over 65 disturbance calls. Some, most of the noise, but some are barking dogs, my neighbor's car is idling in the street, blocking my driveway. Hello? Blocking my driveway access. So all encompassing, so far this year, over 65 disturbance calls. In regards to you guys calling, and the biggest thing, I worked in Sun Valley as a patrol deputy for close to 3 years before promoting to detectives and then obviously climbing the ranks as supervisor. But I always valued those calls for service. So I've heard in other CAB meetings, citizens sitting in those seats say, we don't do anything. Well, we do. Noise disturbances are lower priority calls. They're priority 3s. They'll never be more than a priority 3 unless there's an active disturbance, meaning there's a fight going on or some other higher level crime. We will get to them when we can. As I've touched on in the past, we only have a certain limited amount of deputies assigned to the sheriff's office, assigned to Washoe County among the other beats around Washoe County that we have to serve. So if there is a delay, it's not on purpose. It's not, we're not taking a noise disturbance any less than a higher call for service. It just means there's higher precedent calls that we have to respond to. There's been, everybody knows,
or we've talked about in the past, I won't say everybody knows that. If you call in a noise disturbance, when it's a party, a loud barking dog, a lot of those are tangents we'll call animal control. But we'll just stick with the party example, okay? Because that's the most biggest thing, especially in the summer. I've seen, right? We get parking problems or just loud noises throughout the day. Washoe County, the areas that the sheriff's office patrol and have jurisdiction over, besides the entire county and state, is we don't have noise ordinances in the Washoe County, right? City of, the unincorporated areas I'm talking about, City of Sparks and City of Reno do have noise ordinances, and that's something you guys as citizens can bring forward to the board and then possibly the county commissioners for changes. But we can't enforce any type of noise disturbance unless we have a willing victim, i.e. you guys. So if you call, citizen A says citizen B has a party, I don't like it. You don't want to go talk to your neighbors, which there's no law preventing that, but if there's issues in the past, I will caution you to avoid that so you don't escalate issues. But if you can be civil with your neighbors, whether, if you have that relationship, I mean, again, I touched on that in the past, like you can do that. But if you don't feel comfortable, then you don't have to, no one's telling you to do that. But you can call and say, I want my neighbor cited for this noise disturbance. And that could be loud, we'll say loud music from a party at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 3 o'clock in the morning. It makes no difference. It's your peace and quiet that needs to be disturbed. So if deputies get that call for service from you and you call and you tell dispatch, I'm not willing to be a victim. And when you say, they ask victim, that can be synonymous for complainant, not means you're a victim, like something serious, but you have to be willing to sign the citation. We're not going to arrest somebody for a noise complaint. Absolutely not. We would issue a citation at most. And citations noise disturbances are misdemeanors, and they have to be occurred. If they're not occurred in law enforcement presence, we can't really do anything. And even if you saw, and I'll segue to this, if you go back to my original example, and you call and say, I want to cite the individual, I want to cite neighbor B. Okay, we're going to come see you guys, and then we're going to say, are you willing to sign the citation? Fill out a statement, sign our little phones. We have a PDA device, you use your little finger, you sign the criminal complaint. Then we're going to go over to your neighbor's house and issue them a citation. Here's the court date, and you both go to court and say, he or she disturbed my peace and quiet. This is the 20th time I had to deal with it, the first time I called. Probably go a little bit long way with the judge, right? We can't, when we do enforcement, the court service is something different. So whatever happens in the courtroom between the judge is something that we can have no control over. But if you keep doing that, or neighbor A, neighbor B, neighbor C are tired of neighbor D's parties that are happening at 3 o'clock in the morning every day, you all can collectively call, right? You guys you're not going to chat at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, call the police, but we can issue a citation on every one of your behalfs as long as you're willing to complain. And then now that person, hypothetically, can have 3 citations issued to them for that one party that night that happened, and now you all go to court and the judge can do what the judge is going to, he or she is going to do. It's a misdemeanor offense, so that means up to 6 months in jail and I believe $1,000 fine. $1,000 fine. And again, up to the court system, not law enforcement. If you tell dispatch, going back to my example, that I'm not willing to be a complainant, more than likely we will cancel those calls. We'll still have deputies float in the area and just be a visual deterrence when we can. But we're not going to make contact with you or the neighbor that has the party going on, or whatever noise disturbance it is, because we don't have a core transaction, we call it in law enforcement, something for us to act on. If you are willing to sign the complaint, then we can go a little bit forward and move a little bit further. Now, we have talked collectively in the leadership roles of Sheriff's Office and Patrol Division that if there is a call for service and there is a willing RP, we were going to send a deputy to that call. Like I said, order of priority, we'll get there. And if we get there and it's too late, well, doesn't mean we're not going to do anything. We're still going to make contact with you, possibly see if you still want to sign a citation. If you have video evidence of that, whether it be cell phone camera, audio, surveillance camera on your home, we can use that to determine what we call probable cause. And everybody, just to dumb it down the best I can, is probable cause what we use meet the threshold for a citation or an arrest. So if we can determine that, we can move forward with a citation. In regards to noise disturbances, I just wanna, again, stress the importance that we're not canceling them, we are going to them. We do take some time to get to them, I'll admit, I've done it in the past, whether as a deputy or supervising a patrol shift, calling someone, sorry for the delay. We just been busy, unfortunately, we'll get there when we can. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the process, or does anyone want me to read the statute for noise? Okay. Go, I'm gonna go with our first, sir. Go ahead, man.
So, and I'm not gonna state my name. So, I have made this call before. And what you're actually told is, yes, sign a complaint. You know, are you willing to go forward? Are you willing to sign a complaint? Yes. And then you're told your address and your name will be given to the people at the party. Are you sure you want that to happen?
Are you saying, so just to recap what you're saying for everybody online that could not
Yeah,
hear,
sorry.
you've called, that's fine, you called dispatch.
Yes.
The reported noise disturbance. The dispatch on the other end says, are you aware that you're in?
Usually I say yes, so officer comes.
Okay.
Right? And I'm told by the officer, your address, just so you know, your name and address will be given because it's the citation or whatever.
Yeah, it's a formal
right,
document, correct.
You know, will be given to the people you're complaining about. So they will know where you live. Are you okay with that? What's my answer?
And I can tell from experience, that is very bad.
Yeah,
Very
so
bad.
my answer is no, I would prefer they don't know where I live.
Yeah, we're not, Lieutenant Nemeth, we're not giving them that information. However, when it does go to court, we
Yeah.
are able to get the discovery, which is gonna show your name, your address at that point. But we are not going over there, pointing out to this is the person that made the complaint, here's the phone number, here's their address. So that's just, I think they're just not explaining it well,
Yeah, because as
in the end, they can find out where you live and your name.
Fair enough.
Good question.
My name's Jim Siebert. I've called probably 17 times now about parties from 11 o'clock. Usually about 11 o'clock, it's like, all right, you guys turn it down, right? Kind of a courtesy thing, and I know people are having fun, whatever. On at least 13 occasions, I've been asked, would you be willing to sign a complaint? I say absolutely. On 3 occasions recently, I still haven't gotten a phone call or anything back from anybody, a deputy or dispatch. I call the non-emergency line. I'm very cordial with them. I give them exact addresses and everything else. The times that I have had deputies come by, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, they give me a call. I'll meet them out in front of my house. And at that point in time, I've been told, do you really want to go through the paperwork of this, like from your deputies? Now, and I have no reason to lie to you. This is a thing. This is something that is. Why would she want to give her name? I don't care if they have my name. That does not matter to me. What matters to me is that me and my neighbors in my neighborhood have some peace and quiet throughout the night. You want to have a party? Have a party. It's great. 11 o'clock, turn down the mariachi music, please. And I'm nothing against the mariachi music, but at some point in time, it's gotta be brought down. Now, I know there's ordinances. I just heard that there's no Washoe County ordinance on sound. And that's something that, as the community, we need to address that at this point in time, right? Or at your next meeting, whatever that might be. Where does that end? Does it actually go through, or does it get looked at? And it's just like, well, it's Sun Valley. They don't care. It's not gonna happen again. And people can shake their head and say, no, that never happens. That's a downright lie. It happens all the time. I've seen it in the community. I've been a community member on and off for the last 40 some odd years now. 49 years. But as community members and all of Sun Valley, like it gets a little disheartening at the end of the day
when I'm in slippers out in front of my driveway and two officers come up and or deputies come up and say, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to fill this out? Because it's going to create paperwork and then you have to go to court. I'm ready to go to court, man. Let's go. Like, I don't care as long as it stops. As long as there's some sort of threshold that says, hey, at 11 o'clock, shut it off. If we call, I don't want to, and no offense to the people working, I understand your jobs are very hard. I understand that. And the dispatchers are getting it all night long. It's all negative all the time. You have nothing positive coming in, especially you guys out in the field, right? But when we're like just asking for the simple thing, hey, can it be quiet? Hey, can you not let the quads ride on Sun Valley Boulevard? Because I almost took another one out the other day and the dude flipped me off. And I'm like, all right, I'm in the car. I should be on the boulevard. There's these things that are happening out here that are not being addressed at all. Or it's being like, we'll just put it underneath the car. Do you really want to fill this out? Do you really want to do this? And when I say yes, then it's just a conversation until I finally say, you know what? Just go, just leave. Fine, leave, go ahead and do whatever you're gonna do, because I'll call again at some point in time. And I have neighbors that don't want to call because they're afraid that there's gonna be a recourse. If the recourse happens and, then we say, well, we had went through this before and then this, there's recourse, something happens. And hopefully it's nothing bad, but there's always the art of confrontation or stuff like that. People don't want that. People expect the people that we're bringing in, the deputies and fire and everybody to do their job. And that's what we want and expect. And all we ask for in the community is a little help on this, so.
Yeah, and I can understand your frustration, and we wanna make sure that's not happening, cause if I was in your shoes, I definitely don't want neighbors like that, but. As far as the deputies responding and that, I don't doubt that could happen or that did happen, so I understand that. It is something that we will talk to our sergeants on our shifts to let them know that that's not acceptable. I don't know if it's being explained. Like I said, going back, it's being explained in the correct way. I would say for you in this position, definitely hold your ground, tell the deputy, no, I do want him cited. I don't care about the paperwork. Express that. If there is a situation where the deputy keeps pressing that issue, I would hope not, then ask for a supervisor to come to the scene so it can be handled at that level. I know it's probably Friday, Saturday night the biggest. Well, a lot of Friday, Saturday nights, we are responding to other things, so we're not trying to push you back down the ladder. But a lot of those things where we have a lot of violent crimes that are occurring, people driving under the influence and other crimes that are happening. So it is bringing us away from going out there. And by the time we do get out there at 1 or 2 in the morning, the party has stopped. But again, if it gets to that situation when the deputies, if you want to be contacted and you want to cite, and you say that I want deputies out there, I don't care what time they get out here, I want them at that point. Again, follow through with it, tell them no, ask for a supervisor, and then we'll move forward with it on that end. But we do definitely take all these calls for service seriously. We want to make sure that you guys are having a good community. I will tell you that we have ran into it with a lot of people that are having these parties, they don't care. And it's sad to say that you live with neighbors like that, and we definitely want to cite them. And if, again, like he said, if you have 3 neighbors that are gonna move forward and come together as a collective group to have them cited and then go to court, and when there's a court date for the next one, like all of you should show up to show the frustration and that, more you have out there to say, hey, this is going to happen, I cited them, and then move forward like that. So I do understand your frustration.
And communication back, even like if they're not able to make it, why is there not a phone call at least 2 hours later that says, hey, you know what, we're that busy, we cannot get back to you.
Yeah, and a lot of times our sergeants, when they have time, because again, we have sergeants and deputies working, we have lieutenants for most of the night. It is one of us, probably a sergeant or a lieutenant's gonna reach out and say, hey, we haven't forgot about you. There is gonna be a delay to the calls for service and so on. So I've made those calls personally. We do want, I want you to feel important as a community member, but that's why we are there for, like you said, so we do want to stop those things, but we will get to you, we will try to respond. Dispatch does notify us when you guys have been, called it in like 2 hours ago. They do remind us of that situation if we did get busy for something else. So we are at that point trying to make calls and to just let you know, hey, we haven't forgot about you.
I'm sorry, really quick. I'm curious. So, I think of citation. Luckily, I haven't gotten one for anything recently. And I think I have to pay something, right? Citation to me means fine, pay it and it goes away, right? Or don't pay it and you go to court. So is that what you mean? So you might not know the answer.
I actually have the answer to this question because I've done it several times.
Can you state your name, ma'am?
My name is Regina Gurley. So issue your citation, make sure you have video proof, some type of proof, because the judge is gonna be like, hey, you need to prove what they're doing. You go to court, show the proof, they either get a fine or whatever.
Okay,
And my husband
my
likes
question
to-
wasn't that. My question was, how many times does it go to court or they actually pay the fine?
The
You
first
know?
time you go to court and stand in front of the judge.
Yeah,
It usually ends up getting resolved that they either.
But I think what she's saying is if they get a citation and they pay the fine up front, then they never go to court.
To go away.
So what, so a lot of them will pay the fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Ma'am, could you please let the officers answer the question? I appreciate your input, but let's let them answer.
To my knowledge, there is,
No fines on, I believe.
it is mandatory court.
I haven't issued one in a while, but I'm very sure that there's no fine attached to that.
Okay.
You have to go to court
Okay.
because what we're doing instead of arresting the person is a citizen, we're doing a citation in lieu of a citizen's arrest.
Okay, okay.
Because all the noise disturbances are misdemeanors that are not occurring in our
Yeah.
presence and they're citizens arrest. Just like if I caught him shoplifting, I wasn't a cop, and I held him down to the ground cane, which I don't recommend doing. And cops came, I want him under arrest for stealing that candy bar. Well, okay, now I have to go to court because I violated his rights, so to speak, and now I have to prove my case so the judge can give him a fine for stealing a candy bar, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of boil it down.
Yeah, and I got confused, but the judge would, when they went to court, he could give a fine at that point.
Correct. So you go to court for those. It's not like, trying to think of a fine.
No, I
Pick one like you're,
I understand, yeah.
you're littering or something, right? You got a $200 fine, you pay it,
That
the
was my
traffic
question.
infraction, you pay, you don't go to court. So you have to go to court because you have to prove your side of the story, like she was saying in the back.
Yeah.
And neighbor's side of the story, right? No, I wasn't having a party. Right? And that's why it's hard when we don't have video proof, like he's holding up his phone. And or the party's not going on when you call us, because we have to develop that probable cause. And if you have no evidence that occurs, then we in good conscience and by law, we can't give that person a citation. But now we're violating someone else's rights. Again, we're not taking them out of the house, but we're at their house and they have reasonable expectation of privacy before they don't have to talk to us. They don't have to answer the door if we go to their house too. But that's another tangent that, it's sometimes hard to issue a citation. But we have to have that probable cause. So if you have that video evidence, documenting it on like I said, a camera, your phone, whatever, that helps. And then you, like the young lady in the back said, you take that to court and then now that's your evidence to the judge to show. Because if we don't go to court, we're just affecting a citation for you. So A to B. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We don't ever go to court for that. Unless we get subpoenaed.
So here's what I'm taking out of this. My name is Chris Amries, and law enforcement, the three gentlemen have already explained, they are law enforcement. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get city council members, commissioners, whoever, to pass some sort of a law or some sort of an ordinance so that these gentlemen can enforce it. Last month, when they were talking about shootings, illegal shootings within populated areas, a representative from the sheriff's department indicated that we are going to be working to give the deputy the ability to be judge, jury, and possibly executioner if they feel the need, right? Change the behavior. Hey, this is what's going on. There's some concerns in the community. We need you to stop. Don't do it. Thank you very much. First step in changing the behavior. Second step, hey, you're doing it again. It was documented on this date, this time that this occurred. Third warning. All right, we are now going to cite you. And these gentlemen have dash cams. Yeah. And they have body cams. And they have the necessary tools. Washoe County has given these gentlemen the necessary tools to be quote unquote Judge Dredd, maybe not that. And not that strong, but if anyone gets the reference, good. If we are going to trust our representatives of the sheriff department and local law enforcement to help cut back on the amount of illegal shooting in the territory, then maybe this is something we should also give them the power to. Not needing the citizen to actually write a piece of paper and then have to show up in court. This is kind of like a traffic stop. I caught you speeding. I caught you doing something wrong. Here's your citation. You pay it. If you don't want to pay it, you show up in court. And then he utilizes his necessary dash cam, body cam, or whatever it is to show up in court and say, this is what my dash cam caught. A mile and a half down the street, you can already hear the music coming from the guy's backyard. And you can see my vehicle pulling up. And you can see the cars in front of the house. And you can tell that there's a disturbance going on in this facility. They have, these law enforcement gentlemen have done what they're supposed to do. They are enforcing the law. So now, sorry guys, I know you're busy. Let's give them another law to enforce, city council. That's me.
Amen.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, well, the problem with me is mine.
Say your name.
Monty Turner. Mine comes on, what, 4 nights ago, and just before I left to come here, it was still going. And I mean, these shake my floor, so do nothing to code enforcement, so they're doing nothing. I don't believe we should put more laws in because you can't enforce every law there is. I mean, you can't. The guy next to me has all kinds of documentation, all kinds. And, you know, after the threat we had the other night, we're just like, I told my wife, just stop. We found a expended bullet in front of my Peterbilt with blue paint on it, so I'm looking all over the Peterbilt, find out where my new hole is. Wow. I probably got a new hole in my Peterbilt. I got 7 holes in my house. That shows. My garage is blown up with a 12-gauge.
Oh.
Did you report all these crimes to us?
Again, because Washoe County could not come out to your reports, it cost me $17,000 for that roof. The Peterbilt, if I find a scratch in it or if I find a tear in it, that paint's gonna take 7 years of my life and $50,000 to fix. And
If you're having somebody shoot at your house, or that is something that we'd immediately come out there for. So that is occurring, we need to know about it. You need to call the emergency number so we can get out there and take care of that. We definitely want to keep you safe.
Unless you see blood or flames, will call me again. So I'm over it. Right now, I'm over it. Right now, I'm looking at the ski build. I find that hole in there. It's gonna be game on.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
Yeah, Mark Enwald for the record. You guys do a great job. What I see is that the population has grown so much. I don't think your department has grown that much. So you have to do a lot more work with less deputies. I'd rather put up a little bit of noise than put up with people getting assaulted. I just had a dump trailer stolen on Lupin. I mean, it was the middle of the night. I'm still working on that. And at my house, there's 6 squatters that are there. I don't stay there. I have another place where I live. But they get the law enforcement or ambulance or fire department, they're called weekly, a couple times a week, and it's just out of control. I went to the eviction process. It's taken 2 months, and you guys are gonna go out there on Wednesday and actually physically the lockout and take them out.
What's the address?
5447 Pearl.
Hey, yep.
And you guys already went out there last Wednesday. One of the squatters went and talked to the judge after they threw him out and got back in. I already changed the locks. I had to let them all back in. Now it's a massive steal all my stuff again because they're really mad at me for letting them live there for free for a year. And they can't believe I'm throwing them out. I said, you guys have not paid a time in a year. I just don't know. Like last meeting we had, there's a gentleman up here that says we got to change those laws. I would love to find out the process to do that because it happens to so many people. I know that property owners, the squatters have so many rights. It's just, I don't understand it, but it's a bad thing, especially up here, because these guys are going to go down 2 houses and do it again at a vacant property. And they live that way. They know more than I do. I went one time, I was so mad.
Can we get that noise ordinance?
I'm sorry. You're right. I just go on. I'll keep talking forever. I apologize.
You have a very legitimate problem.
You guys do a great job. That's all I'm saying. Appreciate it.
Any other questions on the noise?
I do have.
Okay.
Heidi Silver, for the record. Are the dirt bikes and quads that run 24/7 up and down Chocolate Drive considered a noise ordinance?
Yes.
Anybody can call in, as far as code
Falls under
enforcement.
nuisance. It falls under nuisance. But part of the nuisance code is, there's different sections of nuisance, and it's like what you specialize in, you know that. So code enforcement doesn't make traffic, we're not PSR, we're not a safety fee. So we also refer those to, and we don't work 24/7, on the weekends, so. So for that particular portion of the chapter 50 nuisance code, we do refer, there's one for riding dirt bikes. For motor vehicles like close to property lines. There's a section on that in chapter 50.
Thank you.
But we'll go out. Again, catching them in the moment is the big issue, right? But we will go to those calls. No one cancels calls unless there's been a significant time delay. But we also always stress upon our sergeants, because those are the ones that cancel the calls. Deputies can't, right? They can't decide for themselves, I'm gonna cancel a call. Has to be a supervisor. But we'll call the RP. And we'll straighten that up if that's not occurring in some instances. I can tell you 99% of the time, we are calling you guys back, citizens. But we will address it and go handle these calls for service.
Well, years
promise you that.
ago, the sheriffs used to catch these kids. And they told them the first time, it's a warning. Second time, we take your bike.
Yep.
And you don't get it back until your parents come and get it
Well,
back.
they go get it from the tow company.
What happened to that?
We still do that.
Well, also that, like he said, we're not gonna chase them, so they know
Yeah.
we're not gonna chase them, and we don't want a kid to get hurt. We've had it where it's a dangerous situation, we don't wanna push that issue and somebody get hurt, so, I mean. We are going out there, again, if they stop, we are enforcing it, we are getting parents involved, we are, we've had deputies that are towing these bikes, these motorized bikes now. Not dirt bikes, but those e-scooters and stuff like that. So that they have to get them out of impound and pay $700, and then hopefully the parents at that point realize that they have it now, that's unsafe, they shouldn't be doing it, so.
Perfect.
It's a whole process, and it's not perfect, and we only can work within the limit of the law. But.
The ones I see are adults. You know, they're not all these kids.
Yeah, I know not to say that, I'm just.
You see riding to 7-Eleven or buy a ride to tank it up and, you know, crossing lanes and nothing to do with traffic laws. Just driving on the wrong side of the road, all of that crap. They're adults.
Yeah, and I know that does occur, we need to be called. Hopefully, we're getting to that area at that time to get them stopped, and they stop, and we can handle it from there. If they're under the influence, we'll go through the whole DUI process and try to arrest them, tow their vehicle if we can, like. Again, we're doing the best we can with what we have, and we wanna make sure that we are keeping you guys safe, so we are out there working, I promise you, our deputies are out there working. They are fast, very, very thin.
Yeah, so I'll bring it back to noise. So, Susan Seaver for the record. So, a couple years ago, I called it Christmas. I had 175 four-wheelers parked on my street along with about 50 cars and 2 food trucks. Parked on Smoky Canyon Drive. I called when they pulled up in my driveway to park and would not leave. And then I told them, number one, I have a valve stem puller and I will flatten every one of your tires if you don't move. So they did. But I called twice. And both times I was told by dispatch that they had to discuss it with the supervisor first, the sergeant first before they come out. They never came out. Finally, everything calmed down in that. But I got so angry, I wrote Sheriff Balaam a letter and said, this is unacceptable. That about a week later, I got a call from the sergeant and I got cops explained why I shouldn't have called. Why, when I call, my name's out there, my neighbors will probably retaliate. And then I did not listen to the rest of the conversation because I told him I'm not being cops blamed, and I hung up before I lost my temper. So that maybe some of that education needs to be done too. I was very angry at that time. So, and again, like I said, I was a single woman living in a house, and when you got 4 side by sides that pull up into your driveway, clear up to your garage, and says we'll be back in a couple hours. That's unacceptable. I should have had a police officer there right away.
Cause I was on the phone talking to dispatch at the time. I know they heard me say, number one, I have enough money to tow every one of you. And number two, I'm gonna flatten every one of your damn tires, so that's what we're gonna.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't speak to that. I know no knowledge of it. I'm not discounting that you did that, but when those, if there's something that escalates to that, then you have to, that rises to a higher priority, so I guarantee. Maybe in the past that didn't happen, but currently we would have deputies out there. To be honest, go ahead.
Wait a minute to two more questions, only because we're running out of time.
So I can run my generator, cause it's only at 70 decibel. All night long. Without being. Site.
The day-night average is 75 decibels, the 24-hour average.
So I can run it all night long.
You turn it off.
I don't know if that falls under disturbing the peace. If your neighbor wants to go the route and, sign the citation, that might fall under that. But as far as what the noise standard in the development code, that's what.
You, if the guy doesn't open the door, you can't give him a citation. Is that correct?
The problem is if we have to affect service. So you have to prove we serve, just like if I pull you over and give you a citation and you don't take it, but you don't sign, but you're willing to take it, that's service. Right? If you're not gonna take it or not signing and not taking the citation from the piece of paper from my hand, even if you throw it out your window and then you litter, and then we just pull you over down the road and I'll give you another ticket, like, then we arrest you, right? Then we pull it out of your car, like we don't like going down that road. We use our words, right? It's the best line of defense we have, right? If they don't answer the door, we can't really serve it because no one's taking it. So unfortunately, we don't. We can come back. We can get them when they're moving down the street, right? But we're not gonna sit on the house to be realistic unless we have time. We have time to do that, we will, right? We'll get you another day, right? But I'll wrap it up because it is late and we have a pending call I'm listening to in my ear that we have to get out to. We have now, in regards to the e-bikes and the dirt bikes and what my partner was saying, we have other tools. And like I said earlier, we have drones, right? We can get them later. We don't have to follow them. They go onto private property. We don't have any ability to enforce the law there. But if you call and we can't get there right then and there, chances are by the time we get there, we're not going to find them or they're not there anymore. So we can use the drones, another tool, or if a deputy's in the area, we can follow them from a distance if need be. And then when they stop at the park, if it's a juvenile, or they go to a house, then we can make contact and follow up on that. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. So we are doing stuff. You might not be seeing it. And that's, law enforcement is 99% stuff you don't see. But we are doing everything we can to protect everybody in this county. Every law enforcement officer in the country, in the world, is doing stuff to protect the community. And we are. And we're leveraging this technology now to help us do these things that we normally couldn't do. So sometimes things in the past, we are evolving away from that. So not showing up to a call, unacceptable. Not calling somebody for a 2-hour delay, unacceptable. But we as leaders are making sure we are changing that and doing the right things. And I can say that personally, being a supervisor for the past almost 5 years now. So, all right. Thank you, everybody.
All right. We are going to number 8, neighborhood development.
You want me to grab a microphone? Hi, everyone. My name is Alexandra Wilson, for the record. I'm part of the Commissioner Support Team and your liaison for the Sun Valley Club. Thank you. I just have 2 updates. One in regards to I can pull it up here. One in regards to boarding commission openings. So currently we have 2 openings for our boards. One is the Air Pollution Control Hearing Board. And that is through our Northern Nevada Public Health. They are looking for a contractor to sit on that board. So if you know a contractor, or if you are a contractor, They're looking for individuals with that type of knowledge to serve on the Air Pollution Control Hearing Board. And that will remain open until they receive applications for someone to accept. The other one is our Washoe County Home Consortium Technical Review Committee. So this committee is a part of, it's a combination of City of Reno, City of Sparks, and Washoe County to go through different projects that review affordable housing. It's an affordable housing loan program. And so people will submit projects, and this review committee reviews those projects for funding, as well as if they fit and promote regional housing solutions that we have issues to currently. I have a question.
Is that for developers and contractors?
What was that?
The loan is for developers?
It doesn't specify whether it's for developers. They just allocate. What was that?
Contractor, like people that are building the affordable housing?
It's likely for those individuals, although I would have to look in further just to make sure. I imagine building affordable housing isn't very cheap, and so I don't imagine very many individuals applying for it. But I can definitely look into that. But they also do things like allocate funds for housing assistance programs and down payments for first-time home buyers. And so it's kind of an interesting board to be a part of. And so we have a technical staff that's a part of it, and those individuals that are part of our housing and homeless team. And then we also have a lay person, so an individual in the community that is interested or has any sort of expertise or knowledge, or even just an interest in getting involved. So if anyone is interested to apply.
Quick question, what kind of a commitment do you need for that? I mean, how much time does it take a week to get on that board?
So they meet, so as far as the commitment of being on the board, they meet the second Tuesday of every month.
Oh, okay.
And so it's I would say a couple hours. I would say it's a very long meeting, but if you're willing to commit your Tuesdays. The application for that closes on the 18th for anyone that is interested. If you can apply online, you can also print out the application, or you can come pick one up at our office here at 9th Street. And then again, same thing for the Air Pollution Hearing Board, but that one is open indefinitely until we find someone for that position. So those are the two that are open for our board and commissions. The other thing I wanted to share is we do have 2 development meetings coming up that affect all the districts. So we have the first, which is agritourism. This was an initiative brought forth by Chair Andriola. And so there's a meeting occurring on Wednesday, August 5th from 5 to 6 p.m. It is an online meeting. If you were to click onto this page, and I can show any individual who wants to access this page how to do so, it's very easy. And I can also send you the link. Or we can also get you signed up for the notification. So whenever we do put in a new development meeting, you get notified directly to your inbox. So for agritourism, again, that's going to occur on the 5th. The link, if you click into that meeting, is available. It's going to be via Zoom. And that is to update our standards for agritourism and what that means within our code. The other meeting that is occurring is going to be our nuisance code and administrative enforcement code. I believe that is similar to what we're talking to today. We're recording it.
No.
Okay, maybe not. But that one is occurring on the 18th from 5 to 6 p.m. And again, it is also a virtual meeting for anyone who wants to attend. What's nice about this page and why I encourage individuals to go to this page is because it lists not only what the development meeting is about, how to access it, but it also links the code that it's going to be effective, as well as who you reach out to get more information. So for example, we have our planning manager that is listed on here, Chad Geisinger. So if you had questions, or if you wanted to know more, you can access that through this portal. In addition to that, once the meeting has occurred, we do upload any documents from that meeting as well as the recording. So if you weren't able to attend in person, maybe you're busy, I know not everyone can get there at 5 to 6 p.m. I'm usually feeding my kids at that time, so it's not my whole meeting time, but you can click into any one of these meetings and it'll give you all those details. So who was there, what materials were provided, the recording itself. And then from there, once the development meeting goes to an application within Washoe County, it then gets put onto our next portal of applications, which are broken down by district as well as multi-district or all district applications. And then what's really nice is, so for example, with District 3, If you click into any one of these, it'll let you know what the case number is or the case name, who the planner is assigned, which area it affects, and then when that item is going to go before a governing board. So whether that be the planning commission, board of adjustment, and then I'll also let you know the outcome. So for example, with this one, the application was withdrawn. So then the process ends with us there. If it were to be denied and then go on to the Board of Planning Commissioners, that's documented within that list. So you guys get a good understanding of where it is in the process. And again, if you have any questions, you have the contact information to reach out. You can always call 311 and they'll also help you to guide you to this information. But those are the two updates that I have, if anyone has any questions.
What does HUD stand for?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Are your neighborhood meeting hub website?
It is capitalized, so it should stand for something, but
Unless somebody misspelled it, instead of a D, a B maybe?
no, I think it's meant to be a hub, but I'm not sure it's supposed to be an acronym for a hub. I think it's just a hub of information.
Usually something they deal with houses.
Or hub, yeah, hub is for hub, I guess.
Thank you, Alexandra. Now we're up to board members and commissioners. Commissioner Garcia.
Good evening, everyone. Commissioner Garcia for the record. I'm going to be short and sweet, just some updates. Grocery store. They are talking to the Sun Valley owner. He's a business owner here about doing something in the building. It's a private property. The county has nothing to do with it, but it's the first person that I introduced them to last year. So they've kind of circled back to that. So more to come on the grocery store. I'll let you know next month if I hear any update. On the abandoned vehicles he left, I use 311 just like you guys to report anything I see in the community. I'm out driving, knocking on doors and talking to folks. So please use 311. We are making some real headway on our code enforcement. Quartz, Birdies, and Mineral, those are all properties that are outside of my district, but I've been working really hard. Quartz, we have some great news. It has, it's in escrow, it's gonna sell, which means it's gonna get cleaned up, which means the county code enforcement and Washoe County Sheriff's Office will be very happy. Birdies is in progress and Mineral is also in progress. In District 3, Carnes and Fifth are now we're starting to see some movement there. So we're hoping that those two abandoned properties will also get cleaned up shortly. And then I think she left, but the constituent was talking about the traffic issues on 7th. I want to let you know that any of those concerns, if you get those to 311, I promise you, we do look at those, we collect data on those. For example, did you guys notice the newish lights on Leon and 7th?
Yes.
Flashing lights? That's because a constituent emailed me footage of an accident. I helped elevate it, and then we eventually got some improvements there on Leon on 7th. So they put in flashing LED stoplights, stop ahead signs, pavement markings. So it does work, I promise you. For example, Amy here raised the sound of the alarm on a Wedekin Road crosswalk. That is also in progress. We got the funding through RTC to do that. That's in Reno. So you've got to report these things. I listen and hear to all of those concerns. We do what we can with the money and resources that we have available, but I encourage you to keep using 311. That's all I have, and I'll just stay after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just have a few things. It's getting late, so I'll make it quick. September 1st, like I said before, is our next meeting. It's a Tuesday, not a Monday. I want to thank our guest speakers. And I want to remind everybody how hot it is and how dangerous it is, and to please check on your family, friends, neighbors, and pets.
Make sure you hydrate.
Right, and hydrate. Our next meeting, please bring ideas for the noise ordinance. What you're concerned about, what solutions you think might work, because that's what the next meeting is gonna be. And also bring agenda items you'd like to hear at our upcoming meetings. We're scheduled through October. So any ideas you want to hear, bring them up, and thank you all for coming, and we'll ask Amy. No, Mary? No, right?
Just for a second. Mike Ryder, I just wanna, I've lived out there for 55 years. Just got you beat, Bill, it's not that much. But what I wanna say is it's always been a fight out here, and I'm looking at my army. The people that fight this battle are sitting in this room, and I thank you, and I just wanted to thank you. Don't stop fighting. That's how we've accomplished everything we've ever accomplished in this valley.
Yep.
Okay, is by, we don't give up, we don't give in, we dig in and we push until we get the things fixed. And that's what you do and I've always done, and I thank you personally for the fight that you do. Thank you.
I do actually, yes. Veronica Cortez, Citizens Advisory Board. I have been very busy working with property owners, business owners, trying to clean up Sun Valley. That's my only goal. That's why I kept my businesses here. I am working very hard with voter integrity. We had a lot of fraud in this year's elections. Even the ROV found it, and you can go back to the minutes of the county commissioner meeting on July 18th. Sun Valley Neighborhood Center is mentioned in here and how the fraud was found. So if you're concerned about our elections, know that you do have somebody that's looking into it. So we will have some integrity in our elections this year. Also, just going through the member handbook, going through the codes of conduct for Citizens Advisory Board, past meetings, and making sure that our board is following through with the code of conduct, with being honest, with being responsible, with our words, with ensuring that the citizens' voices are heard and we're considered in county decision making. So a lot of people stopped coming to the meetings because they thought they weren't being heard or listened to. But I want to guarantee you that me on the board, I will make a special meeting with you. I do it all the time to make sure that we have the room full like this. I was told because of me, maybe people don't want to come back. But actually, it's super full. So thank you so much for coming, and let people know that we are a strong army. We are Sun Valley. We are unincorporated. And together, we will get things accomplished. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.
All right, thank you. Our last public comment is Susan.
So for the record, Susan Seaberg, I am the chairwoman of the Sun Valley General Improvement District. You think I need it? Yeah. That's online. Yeah, okay. So again, Sun Valley General Improvement District, I am the chairwoman of that, great organization. I will tell you, we spend almost every day looking to save you money. Not easy to do when water and sewer and recreation and garbage is so expensive. So I wanted to address the Prosser Way issue. We are undergoing a major sewer upgrade in that area. That's why the actual, the roadways are closed. They are on schedule. Only about 2 more weeks that will be closed. If the weather holds, because they can't work on sewer if it's raining. So, it's one of those things. So that's probably our one big project that's going on. You will see some other projects this fall because that building that's being built across McDonald's, they're on First and Prosser.
The pump house.
That is your new pump house. So your new water pump house. The one we have is 55 years old. And the best thing about that whole house, and Mr. Mike will tell you too, is we're only paying the community's only paying about 30%. The rest of it's going to the developer. So it was a great opportunity for us to save the community some money and also put a infrastructure in that's going to last probably at least 100 years. So that's all. Excuse me.
Not unless it floods.
Trying to do what I'm doing.
It floods down.
It does, but I will tell you that is a state-of-the-art building. And every time Mike and I see what we're allowed to see because of the security, we're usually going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. All right, with that in mind, guess what? It's time to go home. Do I have a motion?
I want to be a jerk.
We're going. Thank you.